Life Audio.
Give yourself permission to let go of what isn't working. It might be couponing. It might mean endless decision-making. It might be overcomplicating the whole meal planning thing. What kind of permission could you give yourself to let go of what isn't working?
We're all touched by the mental health crisis, and many in our church communities are seeking support. We need compassionate Christian therapists walking alongside them through every season. Western Theological Seminary offers a master's in clinical mental health counseling, blending trauma-informed care with the rich tradition of soul care. Be part of the solution, grounded in faith. Learn more at counseling.westernsem.edu. That's counseling.westernsem.edu.
Hello and welcome to the Encourager Podcast, where we have encouraging conversations to help you joyfully harmonize your home and work life. I'm your host, Rebecca Scott. I'm a wife, mother, designer, coach, and author. I'm here to help encourage and empower you to confidently make decisions that work for you and your stage of life, whatever that might be. Hello, encouragers. On today's podcast, I want to talk to you about the 3 best and the 3 worst food system decisions. I know that we already talked about the me system. Now we're going to talk about the 3 best and worst for your food system. The bottom line is your food system should serve you, not stress you. Believe it or not, it is possible. So a few intentional decisions can save time, it can reduce the overwhelm, and it can actually bring joy back into mealtime. It is possible. Have you ever found yourself standing in front of the fridge at 4 p.m. or if you're not home, running home and going, oh gosh, Siri, what's the phone number for Domino's? Or going, do we have enough milk to just have cereal tonight? Or like, what can I convince them to eat tonight? Okay, these are all normal things that happen to us on occasion. But if this is something that happens to you frequently, we want to fix that. And so these are just 3 simple decisions that have really worked for me. And this is just kind of the 1% version of it and 3 of the worst decisions you can make. But I hope at the end of this podcast, you'll have some things that you can implement to start making the food process more enjoyable and way less chaotic. So food is a huge part of both home and work life. It affects your energy, it affects your focus, and even your mood. We all know this. There's plenty of information about there about your energy, your focus, your mood, everything revolving around food, as if we didn't need any more guilt over the food system. I used to think meal planning had to be complicated, or more or less that it just had to be super involved, and the more details I had, the easier it would be, and that just stressed me out. And it took up like a whole week just to figure out 5 weeks worth, and it just wasn't working that way. So I want to share what's worked well for me and what absolutely hasn't, the 3 worst, so you can create a food system that works for your life. Now, you're going to take away some of the things that have worked for me and go, okay, that wouldn't work for my family. But some of them you will be able to apply, and other ones you'll be like, okay, well, here's what I could do for mine. Because the most important thing with the systems, as you remember, is they have to work for you, your stage of life, your unique family makeup. Yes, I will give you examples of what I am doing, but the part is for you to be intentional about asking yourself, of this, what will work for my individualistic, awesome family? Here's the idea, guys. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every single day when it comes to food. With some simple systems, you can make meal planning easy and very sustainable. It is possible. Okay, food isn't just fuel, it's connection, it's joy, and it's an opportunity to care for yourself and your family. When your food system is chaotic, everything feels harder. But when it's streamlined, it's a game changer. The right decisions make food planning easier instead of harder. I know, but if you start with making your food decisions, everything else runs smoother because you're not spending the sheer amount of mental bandwidth asking yourself what's for supper over and over and over during the day. So here are my 3 best food system decisions. Number 1, planning 1 week at a time. This is what's worked for me. I know there are a million plans out there for 5 to 6 weeks. I've tried all of them, but for me personally, the 1 week at a time reduced the overwhelm of planning more than that and reduced the chaos of planning day to day. So I chose 1 week at a time. There was no more last minute stress, just one decision once a week on what we were going to do. I started picking one day, in particular for me, it's Sunday, and I plan out the meals for the entire week using my weekly agenda. That's a free resource on theencouragerpodcast.com. Knowing what's coming takes the pressure off and reduces the decision fatigue. right? Because I've already decided on Sunday. Yes, sometimes in the middle of the week, I have had to switch if I forgot that there was an event or a kid came home and was like, this is going on. So then I've had to swap days, but it was just mostly what I got to follow for that week. Number 2, making food decisions by 9 a.m. This is such a game changer. I'm telling you. Even if all you do is make your food decision by 9 a.m., just deciding what you're going to have for supper, you'll be so much further ahead of the game than asking yourself all day long and losing all that mental bandwidth to the question, what's for supper? So just make the decision by 9 a.m. For me, I decide what's for dinner. I defrost anything that's needed and I mentally prepare. So I might get out the ingredients. I might even make it at that point so that all I have to do is eat it later. But what would that look like for you? It's one of the best decisions I made for the food is just making my decision by 9 a.m. Then I don't have to think about it anymore. So even if the day gets crazy, I don't have to make another decision at 4 o'clock, which is already a terrible time to make decisions. I just follow through with the decision that I made by 9 a.m. What would that look like for your family? And then number 3, keeping all the baking materials together. Now, this is obviously next level. If you just heard the word baking and you shuddered, tune out. Fine, you don't have to put your baking ingredients together. But for me, I really do enjoy baking, and I love for my girls to enjoy baking next to me. And if I want to do it smoother and quicker and still make it enjoyable without stressing out about it, putting those materials together was a real game changer. So I no more search for the flour, the sugar, the measuring cups, because it's all in one spot. And the spot is right above my mixer, so it's even closer together in proximity so I can get busy baking quickly. And the reason that I like this is because now it feels less like a chore and more of an enjoyable thing and tradition for my family. Streamlining the ingredients and the tools saves time and keeps the kitchen more organized as well. And so when I started grouping those baking ingredients, you guys, less chaotic, more streamlined, and more fun. Here are the 3 worst food decisions that you could make. So avoid making these ones, okay? Repeating the what's for dinner conversation at 4 p.m. every single day. This led to cereal nights, a ton of frustration, and sometimes burnt skillet meals. Okay, I'm not proud of this, but this totally happened this year. I got chaotic during the Christmas season because of my retail brand, Rebecca Scott Designs. Go Design, an awesome purse, you guys. I got stressed out and I wasn't making food decisions by 9 a.m. And my food system was the most broke during that season. And I noted it for the second year in a row. I was like, I have got to plan for more freezer meals during the month of December because there's just too much on my plate with retail. So anyways, I was last minute, I'm like, okay, I am not going to serve eggs or mac and cheese. We're going to have a skillet meal because I can put it together in 30 minutes. And one of the things that I do personally is always take a look at when I read a recipe. Yes, I read the ingredients, but I actually look at how long it takes it to make it first. Because if you've listened to any of my podcasts, I time everything. It gives me knowledge and gives me data about how long things take. And I don't get overwhelmed by going, I have no idea how long it will take, because chances are I have data on how long it will take. So anyways, skillet meal, 30 minutes, prepped. It's fairly healthy. The kids will love it. We're going to do that. I start the skillet meal. During the skillet meal and stirring, I go, I just have to do one thing in the studio. Just one thing. So I jump over to the studio and I start doing the one thing, but then I'm distracted by the one thing. And then I go to the computer to do the one thing. Then I'm at the computer to do the one thing. And then I'm like, oh man, I got to get up and get that zipper for the one person. So then I get up and get the zipper, all the while not realizing I made a skillet meal, which means you're supposed to stay at the skillet. I never make skillet meals because of this reason. So the skillet meal keeps burning and I keep doing one more thing in the studio to the point of having the smell come all the way into the studio. And the studio is about 30 feet away from the kitchen. I can't see it because our house is shaped like an L. The smoke was so intense that I had to get down on my knees to remove the skillet from the oven. And our smoke alarms did not go off. So those are currently fixed. So if there's any lesson I took away from it is that, thank the Lord, it happened with a skillet meal and not actual fire in the middle of the night with my kiddos being something. I'm not even going to say the words of what would happen in that scenario. But in conclusion, I will no longer make skillet meals until I can chain myself to the oven. Yep, that is the only thing that I would do to make a skillet meal. That's it. Or it's a Saturday and Sunday and I have nothing else on my brain, which that would never happen either. So anyways, for me, skillet meals would be the worst decision. And I cannot make decisions at 4 p.m. because it stresses me out.
We're all touched by the mental health crisis, and many in our church communities are seeking support. We need compassionate Christian therapists walking alongside them through every season. Western Theological Seminary offers a master's in clinical mental health counseling, blending trauma-informed care with the rich tradition of soul care. Be part of the solution, grounded in faith. Learn more at counseling.westernsem.edu. That's counseling.westernsem.edu.
Okay. Number 2 for a worse decision is trying to coupon anything or everything. I'm sorry, guys. This is just a key takeaway. I'm going to give you permission. I thought that I would be saving so much money, but I was actually wasting time chasing the deals from either store to store or aisle to aisle. And I just this is too much. It was just a bad food decision for me. Also, during the coupon, I was buying food based on sales instead of a meal plan that I'd already planned out. So it led to extra trips to the store and even more decisions. And that definitely, I don't want more decisions. So now I meal plan first and then I look for the savings in the store. Sometimes I will buy something that's on sale that I can put in the freezer. I'm not that Nazi about it. I can definitely adjust here. But it does help control my shopping list because I'm not necessarily trying to just find the thing that the coupon is for. It just reduces so many decisions and so much fatigue over it. And the third worst decision you can make in your food system is having no plan at all. I know that some people are like, someday I'm going to have it more detailed out, but never for today. That is more stressful. You guys, it's so stressful not to have a single plan. Now, if you need to plan daily, that's your 1%. Go for it. Just make a decision by 9 a.m. and your decision is for that day only. And the next day you start it over. Okay. If that's a stage of life you're in, that's all you can handle, that's fine. But at least do the decision. Make the decision by 9 a.m. If you can plan out a little further, I recommend week to week. That's what we do. It will still reduce your stress and your overwhelm and your decision fatigue because the decision is made. But having no plan at all really isn't an option, you guys. It is so stressful to do it that way. Decide once and let your food system work for you. Don't work for your food system. I'm going to do a lean into that. So the purpose of your food system is to answer the question, what's for supper, right? That's the whole purpose of your food system. But I want you to decide once and let your food system work for you. Don't work for your food system. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to do everybody else's plan when you know full well that won't work for you. Decide once and let your food system start working for you. Don't work for your food system. Decide what's going to work for your family. You can do it at 1%, which is just daily making that decision, or you can do it at 80%, which maybe you're planning a week out. Maybe you're really awesome at this. And this whole podcast, you're like, what? I love it. I love the oh my gosh, thank you. And please plug in to our Facebook and Instagram communities because we would love to hear from you. There's a ton of people who really enjoy the food system and have these amazing plans. That is fantastic. The fun things over the years of when I've been coaching is that I do have a couple of foodies that I coach and they're like, I love spending time on my food system. So we arrange all the other systems to allow for their food system to have that amount of time that brings them so much joy. So it's totally possible for you to love this system and to apply all that joy. So we just work out how to create time for that system because you love it so much. Or there are those of us that are like, it's just purely a means to an end, which usually qualifies for me. However, I do find some joy, especially in the baking, that I just need to make some decisions. And so that's how I treat the food system. Now, here's how you can apply what you learned immediately after listening to this podcast within the first 10 minutes, okay? I'm going to give you 4 ideas. You can pick one. You can pick all 4. You get to choose, okay? Number 1, pick one food system decision to implement this week. What's the one decision you're going to make for your food system? Number 2, set a reminder to decide dinner by 9 a.m. each morning, okay? If yours is more like 7:30 and that's when you leave the house or whenever you leave the house, make that decision before you leave the house. Maybe you get ingredients out. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just write it on a sticky note and you're like, this is what's for supper. It's fine. Okay. Number 3, look at your kitchen setup. Can you simplify a category like the baking supplies or the snacks or the meal prep to just make it more enjoyable and less of so much decision fatigue around it? Can you simplify your kitchen setup somehow? And then number 4, give yourself permission to let go of what isn't working. It might be couponing. It might mean endless decision-making. It might be overcomplicating the whole meal planning thing. What kind of permission could you give yourself in the food system to let go of what isn't working? Bonus material for you guys that has really been helpful for me in my food system, and that is to have my cheat sheet hanging inside my pantry doors, and that is just all the meals that my family likes to have by meat category. It's just a great one to have inside my pantry because when I'm planning on Sunday, if I hit like a brain fog and I'm like, I don't know what to make this week, I just open up that pantry door, take a look there, write some recipes down. If I'm still stuck on a few days or I'm not in the mood for some of them, then I involve my family like, hey, what would you guys like to eat this week? Then I can write those down as well. But that cheat sheet inside the pantry is easy enough for you to do. And you could just write down, like, just on a road trip, use an Otter app, use an AI app that records your voice and just say, these are the things my family likes to eat. Then export out the audio. I know we're getting next level here, you guys, but just take it to pencil and paper if you need to. And then put those meals inside your pantry. So in conclusion, I'm going to treat this like our 4-H days. Food should bring joy, not stress. When you take simple steps to streamline your food system, you create more time for what truly matters. Whether that's family meals, fun in the kitchen, or simply feeling less overwhelmed around food, your food system is a huge part of our lives, but it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to feel chaotic, and it can in fact feel more joyful and fulfilling for both you and your family. Also, fun little bonus again is we have created an Amazon shop that has my favorite food system cookbooks in there. My favorite items in my kitchen are also available in there. So if you wanted to check that out, please do so. We'll have the link to that in our show notes. And if you listen to this and you're like, gosh, I still have some individual questions for my unique family setup, I would love for you to join our cohort. It starts on April 2nd. It is the second round for 2025, and I can't wait to see who the ladies are in there. It's so fun when I do have a foodie in there because they help the rest of us figure out what we're going to do for our food system. But I also help them 1% when they're feeling overwhelmed with it. So we would love to see you in our cohort starting on April 2nd. If you've got some individual questions and you really want to down your systems, please let me stand beside you, hold your hand, and cheer you on. Until next time, encouragers, we got this because he's got us. Thanks so much for tuning in. If the Encourager podcast has helped or encouraged you in any way, please subscribe to the show and leave a 5-star review. And then help us spread the message of encouragement and hope by sharing the podcast with others. Ready to bring more organization and joy into your life? The Encourager Academy helps you harmonize your home and work life through our online course and coaching programs. Our 5-system approach, me, food, family, work, and home, tackles your biggest obstacles, offering lifetime access to video lessons and guided worksheets. Learn at your own pace with practical tools and strategies. Enroll now at encourageracademy.com and use code WeGotThis for $50 off. Are you ready to finally create systems that help you thrive in both home and work life? Join my 10-week coaching cohort designed for busy women like you. Together, we'll create customized, foolproof systems for managing your home, business, and personal life with joy and purpose. With live coaching, practical tools, and a supportive community, you'll leave feeling organized, confident, and in control. Don't wait. Spots are limited to 10 women. Visit encouragerpodcast.com to apply.
Finding uplifting news in today's headlines is often like searching for a needle in a haystack. At the Story Behind podcast, we believe in the power of finding heartwarming tales and are happy to share empowering stories with you every week. Get inspired by the note a waitress received from a patron dining alone, and even hear about how one VIP passenger made a hardworking pilot get emotional before his flight. To start listening to the Story Behind podcast, visit lifeaudio.com